Welcome back to City Focus. We have with us newly elected Mayor of Valdosta, Scott James Matheson. Welcome to the show, Mayor.
Thank you, Marcus.
This is the first of many times we'll see you in some fashion here on City Focus. You could have served Valdosta in many different ways. What made you want to be mayor?
I have served Valdosta in many different ways, and I think just the title's changing. It's pretty much what I do every single day except the decision-making process. So I'll step up for the next 4 years and see if I'm as smart as I thought I was all the last 30 years of service to the community.
Okay. And I guess, how excited are you to get started?
Yeah, very. Matter of fact, they gave us no grace period. As soon as the election was over, I did 2 straight weeks worth of meetings, individual meetings with the council, an hour-long meeting with John Gale, who was very gracious in transition, a couple hours with Mark Barber, the city manager, and then the Development Authority. No, we did the Airport Authority, and we did the Housing Authority as well. Yeah. And more meetings to come, obviously.
Obviously. Now, we're taping a couple days before you're actually being sworn in, and this won't air until after. But what are your plans that first day after you're sworn in?
Exhale. They got a busy schedule for me in January and a busy schedule in February. There's the Georgia City Summit at the end of January that's going to take up about 4 or 5 days of my time. And then in February, we have newly elected officials training. And then a hat that you and I both have worn for a while. I'll roll right into Bird Supper, which is now a city. Yeah, we bring Leadership Lounge up for that, but it's now a city function for me. And then we'll roll into, I'll stay up there with them for that program day, the legislative day for Leadership Lounge.
Yeah, absolutely. That Bird Suppers are a big deal for all of our elected officials and anybody who has any stake in Valdosta and Lowndes County. Now, everyone that's held this position has some kind of a learning curve. And you talked about some in your meetings. Anything else you're doing to make that learning curve smaller before things get started here in January?
I think my only I did not know that moment so far has been the Housing Authority. They opened my eyes to a lot of stuff as well. Obviously, I talked about tiny house, transitional housing, and some other things during the campaign. They're very excited about all that. Yurashima over at LAMP is very excited about that. But also, I got a learning curve about our current housing situation as well. So that was, I haven't met a stranger yet in all the sit-downs, which is nice because of what I do for a living and have done for the last 30 years. These people are friends and neighbors and have been guests on the show. So everybody I've sat down with so far has been a familiar face and name. So that helps with that learning curve as well. That's why I keep saying I hope to hit the ground running the day after, and as you just asked as well.
And what are some of your goals year one?
Well, before I get to programs and new stuff, the old stuff, I don't have to reinvent the wheel when we have a Parks and Rec Authority that gives us an incredible return on investment. If we give them $1, they give us $1 of quality of life.
Exactly.
That same dollar, they then give back to us 2.5 times over by bringing tournaments and stuff to those fields that they've now built for us as residents. Our Development Authority, they're coming off the best year ever. And I mean previous directors and previous names when they were the Industrial Authority. As Development Authority, they just came off the best year ever. Started with the Georgia Beer Company, ended with our Glass Yamamura, and a whole bunch of expansion and the old Robalo plant in between. So I don't know. I'm going to serve them in any way I can, help them in any way I can. When they come off a year like that, I think that's just something, the momentum you want to keep going. And then our Tourism Authority. How about that bunch that's been nearly invisible for a lot of years? Now, when I was coming back from the mountains over the last couple of days, everywhere along the interstate is Visit Valdosta. They're doing a paid push on Facebook that I saw the entire time I was on vacation. Visit Valdosta. Yeah. When you come back in, they're marketing to areas like Jacksonville and otherwise. And that's a wonderful addition.
Yeah.
So I'll help.
The director there is doing a great job.
So that bunch is hit the ground running in 2020 as well. So I'm excited for them.
Okay, and I guess we have all these great things, and I'm sure all these great plans we have. You said you sat down with Mayor Gale. Any words of advice that he gave you that you think's gonna?
Yeah, he started a great string that I heard from Sonny Vickers and that I heard from Ben Norton as well during individual meetings. Each told me to strike a great work, life, mayoral, father, husband balance in life.
Yeah.
I just thought that was the best advice I could possibly hear. I'm a little obsessive compulsive, so when I grab a hold of a project, if that project is nearing the finish line, I'm going to give it everything I got, and I hope not to the detriment of my business. I own 4 radio stations that I run every single day, not to the detriment of my family and my children as well. So I ask them all, would you continue to remind me of that every 6 months to strike that life balance as well. That was the best piece of advice I came away with.
And that's going to be very important because you're going to have endless calls and emails and phones. And I've heard Mayor Gale said that this is a part-time job, but I work it like a full-time job often.
Yep. And I'll ask you to remind me to strike that balance as well, Marcus, every time we sit down together.
Well, you'll see me every day. I'm on the 3rd floor with you.
Good deal.
Well, is there anything else you want to add or tell people about, I guess, the upcoming year and what you plan to do the next 4 years?
Yeah, I'll tell you what we're going to realize in the first 12 months, period, end of story, is public transit for the city of Valdosta. Mark Barber has made me that promise as well. It was a promise I made during the campaign. It's been a conversation for 30 years, people sitting down with me telling me where they're heading, what they're going to do, and it's just never got done. So in some form or fashion, for a modern day approach, we're going to have public transit in the city of Valdosta.
Okay. Well, there you go. There's another thing there that we have on our books there we're trying for. Well, Mayor, I want to thank you for coming in, and we appreciate what you plan to do, and we hope everything is successful here in the city of Valdosta as you're going into your first term here and there.
Well, make me look good doing it, Marcus, please.
All right. And we'll be back here on City Focus.